Oh, yeah, we about to jump into this recording. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones is actually an event. It is actually going to happen. Now, it will be an exhibition, and they will have headgear on. I do not care because for us, our age group, the 30s, a little bit younger than us, they were definitely older than us, we were on these dudes at the height of their game. On them. No one even cared about pound for pound when Tyson was knocking cats out because we already knew he's pound for pound. Anybody that got in the ring with him was dead. You small, you tall, you short, you tall, you're dead. Body shots, uppercuts, speed. We gonna get into that. And then Roy Jones. Man, I'm gonna let you take it away on this, man. I can't contain myself. So
hold on. Since you said a little bit about Tyson, let me say a little bit about Roy. You know, since you were talking about, you know, the power, the precision, the speed, you know, with Roy Jones, I think that was the first time in a long time that we saw somebody that was that raw with their athleticism, but you couldn't do nothing about it. Like, we hadn't seen nobody like that since Ali at that point. Like,
Ali was athletic. He was nowhere near. I mean, he was athletic.
Young Ali, are you serious? Young Ali?
He was Ali was about 6'3"?
6'2", 6'3".
6'2", 6'3". Those guys were walking in mud and quicksand. He was fighting. Nothing against him. He was he was cold. But Roy Jones' athleticism at 160 he was fighting fast guys. Some guys were fast. He was fighting some fast guys and made them look like they didn't exist. Like they were just in still pictures like this, and he was still moving. I mean, just careers. Okay. Mike Tyson's career. What do you think about his career?
So let's go in stages. Definitely in the beginning, super devastating. I mean, they were just feeding people to him, you know, to get him the experience, the wins, different styles, different body types. And then, you know, once he started getting to the, you know, to the heavy of the heavyweights, you know, with the Burbicks and the Razor Rudicks and all of that, you know, stuff started getting a little bit sticky, but he was still getting guys out of there. And you know, of course, with his trainer Customato passing, you know, that was a major difference and change, and not only his attitude, but of course his style. So a lot of that changed, you know, going to prison, all of that. So later on in the career, you saw some of the same power and precision, but not the same speed, not the same dedication. And, you know, he just lost, I would say, the latter part of his prime. And, you know, that makes a lot of people that are younger than us especially forget how great he was, since they only know him from movies now. And as far as Roy Jones goes, it's pretty much the same thing. I don't think anybody younger than us really knows that Roy Jones was regarded as the best pound for pound fighter of all time before he got knocked out.
To be honest, I forgot about that. You right. Oh, you're right.
People were saying he was the greatest of all time before he got knocked out.
Dang, I forgot about that. Must have forgot. So
yeah.
which is gonna bring me into my take of their careers. Mike Tyson, one of his co-trainers, what is his Teddy Atlas?
Teddy Atlas, yeah.
Was on podcast with Joe Rogan and said he was like 5'10", 190 pounds with low body fat at 12 years old. At 12 years old. Boxing. Ain't nobody got no time for that. I ain't got no time for you. No time for you, cuz, like, I don't have any time for you. People hitting you, like, you a kid. So anybody stabbing and shoot, they got slingshots and wiffle backs for you. Like, anybody got time to be trying to do nothing with you. This is the dude. And so Customato, who had also trained Floyd Patterson, This dude taught
They don't
him.
know, they don't know about Floyd Patterson like that.
That's a whole different. We're gonna get into that, but we're talking about the dips. He taught him a pickaboo style. You keep your gloves in front of you, and you walk forward. If you're 5'10", by the time he was a heavyweight, he's 5'10". He got legs like the best running back you ever saw. He got thighs like the best running back you ever saw.
He had thighs like Bo Jackson, bro.
He got Bo Jackson legs. And the top, it's so compact. I don't know, but when you see him on fight night, he the only person in the game with his own body type, the Tyson body type, because it's had no business.
Well, hold on. Well, there is that body type, but you got to go way back in history. You got to go way back. And I'll give you somebody. And the reason you don't know about him is because Jack Johnson outshined him. Now, this man, his name was Sam Langford. They say that this was the hardest hitting heavyweight.
Okay, I do remember.
Hardest hitting heavyweight of all time, above what's your man, Foreman and what's the dude that fought? Ronnie Shavers. Yeah. Now, I was looking. I seen all the old footage and the choppy footage and all that, but I was looking at his stats. Guess how tall this dude was, bro?
Who?
Sam Langford.
How tall?
He was 5'7", knocking everything out. Everything.
Right, and their heavyweight was a lower weight. I mean, they had lower weights at those weight classes back then.
Really. It was like 195, and
right.
dudes. But that's only a 10-pound difference, and there was only 6 weight classes then. But the thing that is most impressive about that is that was the era of when heavyweight started getting taller, because you had Jack Johnson that was like 6'1", 6'2". You had like this huge ass German dude that was like 6'7". You had Max Baer. You had just the only people that wasn't tall like that was Jack Dempsey for real, and a couple other guys that was getting knocked out anyway.
The only thing I'll say about them old school dudes is some of them dudes they was fighting with slot bodies. They fought all the time. They damn near was fighting bare knuckle because they didn't have the padding.
We can't knock them though, because if you think about it like that, then they were revolutionary. So we got to look at them in the same light as we look at the Alis of the time. Because if you want to get funky with it, we got to give Jack Johnson way more credit, not only because of his fighting style, but because of the man that he was. Because this dude,
I'm gonna give you that. But what I'm not gonna do is say you're a better athlete at this particular sport because of the things you did back in your day. I'm gonna give you credit for being revolutionary, but again,
in skill though.
I mean, if you watching, I don't know, AD knows about film. If you watching film and it's choppy, I don't know what type of tape you studying.
No.
You definitely got to be here.
The Jack Johnson footage is remastered and clear, where you can see his jab.
But they weren't remastered when they was watching it. I don't even know people own devices that would show that. You had to get some type of a projector.
You're just not patient. You just not patient with stuff that's not HD.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying these dudes were slot body. They were short. I'm talking about a dude that moved like a middleweight, that's big I just rewatched some tape of him, man. It's just scary. Tyson is scary. They said Sonny Liston was scary. Tyson is just scary. And going back over his career, he was crazy. Talking about eating people's kids. Have his interviews. He's talking about whatever he want to talk about. Because you're not about to do nothing about it. You're not about to do nothing about it. So he did whatever he wanted to do. But again, you had this beast, this beast. That, again, when you look at him, a guy's 5'10", barely weighing 215, coming in there fighting Frank Bruno. I think Frank Bruno had already fought Lennox Lewis and had a decision in that fight. That guy's 6'6", weighs about 240 or 250, at least 230. I mean, rib cage and abs, like, I don't know how you're 6'6", 6'5", weighing 230 with low body fat and anything, and imagine anything facing you. Because that means at that height and your width of your body, there's a lot of muscle in between your actual soft tissue and your bones. It's just brick wall. And you gotta do this 5'10" that weigh only 215. Again, you're 230, 240, 250, coming through and just blowing it up. Blowing it up. This weight class for a reason, and he erased it. He erased it. He's crazy, but the dude is ferocious. And I will attribute his decline more to Customato departing. RIP, Customato, great trainer. He didn't get to develop. He was developing him mentally and physically and psychologically all at the same time. It was a maturation process. He wanted to slowly build him. He felt like if he did it too fast, the things that happened to him would have inevitably happened to him in real time while he was alive. And he didn't want to do it too slow because, this guy was a ticking time bomb. He wanted him to get some positive reinforcement and doing the right things in life. So you had a guy that was guiding a guy that died right at the beginning of, the uphill, ascent to the peak. So he never got there. I feel like I think because from Teddy Atlas, he said a lot about his character, that he was a bully and wasn't really faced with that many challenges that he overcame in life. And that showcased itself, later in his career. And I think Customato saw that, and he was going to slowly, like you raise a child, slowly build their confidence by achieving, smaller and smaller and shorter and shorter goals over a length of time until you can start giving them bigger goals to reach for. So that never happened, and he suffered as a result. Had a rape case, he had a lot of stuff going on. Then you got Roy Jones, like you said, and I forgot, was regarded as the best pound-for-pound fighter of all time. This dude, you can't even describe him. The combinations he was throwing combinations at the speed Sugar Ray Leonard was throwing them, but with the power of almost like they used to say light heavyweights, even when he's at 168. It was crazy. And somebody, I think Joe Rogan, somebody talked about his body, his build. Like they said he didn't have a lot of muscle in his triceps and certain areas of his body because they felt like he was using a lot of his arms to punch. But he had developed it so much that he had overdeveloped biceps. If you go look at him now, you'll see there's not much tricep there. It's a lot of a lot of bicep. And he would just go with the combinations. If you look at Sugar Ray Leonard, if you look at his physique later in his career, you will see a lot of development in his biceps as well. Not to say it's, they typically say don't, arm punching is frowned upon in boxing. You want to put your body into it, but these were guys that could stop you with arm punches. So he had the speed of Sugar Ray Leonard, but he was punching like a mule. His foot speed was out of control. But with both fighters, like you said, another thing that they lacked was good competition coming up or while they were getting into their peak. Roy Jones did fight a young Bernard Hopkins, but Bernard Hopkins was just like a blue-collar fighter that was taller than him and was seasoned from Philly. He fought James Toney, but James Toney was lazy as hell. He was lazy.
No.
Go. What you got to say?
At that point in time, James Toney was that thing, boy. James Toney was still fast. He still had combinations. You know what I'm talking about? He still had decent footwork. He would use different style. He wasn't that light heavyweight standing in the middle of the ring just waiting for you to parry something. That's not what he was like back then.
What I mean by lazy is that he did not maximize his potential. He was the most skilled fighter. Like you said, I don't know who's more skilled. Gervonta Davis around his time now or James Toney around that time. But that's how good Gervonta Davis is. And if you've seen Gervonta Davis, that's how good James Toney was as far as skill. But what I'm saying is that he almost missed weight for that fight. And he had started getting close to missing weight in his 168-pound fights. He was fighting people, none of which were legends around that time. James Toney was not. He made a fought Michael McCullum that was decent, but Michael McCullum was out of shape for both of them fights, and he didn't stop him in either one of them. And then when he did move up to heavyweight and he was sitting there, he beat an old Holyfield. So to be honest, James Toney didn't beat anybody great. He was a very skilled fighter that was not dedicated to, making sure he was in the best physical shape and dedicated to the sport. Zab Judah was in way better shape than Floyd, but people ain't talking about Zab, and we love Zab for a similar reason. You didn't dedicate yourself enough. So Floyd, Roy Jones get as much credit for beating James Toney as Floyd get for beating Zab Judah. But if Zab Judah was the only fighter, or one of the only two fighters that you made your name off of in your early career, we wouldn't be giving Floyd that much credit. James Toney and Bernard Hopkins were the only two dudes he fought up until the time he started getting knocked out. So they both did not fight anybody. By the time they fought people, it was a wrap, which brings me to the next point. The pros and cons. Give me what you thought were pros and cons of both of their styles.
Now let me ask you this. Do you want peak version, or do you want old and new combined all together?
Give me peak, because when they went away, or when certain things went away, or even when you get older, if those things are no longer there, that's going to speak to why, you did decline, in my opinion.
All right, let's go with Tyson first, since he's the more well-known of the two. Pros, I would say just unrivaled aggression, number one. Precision, and it looks like he still has a bit of that. I would say power. Now, I don't know how good his wind is right now, but if he catches Roy with anything clean,
anything
clean.
You ever ripped a piece of paper before?
Man. So now let's say the cons here.
Straight through the body.
The con would be Tyson's mental state. That's the biggest factor of everything.
Okay.
That's the biggest factor of everything.
Okay.
Because, and to be honest, he seems the healthiest and happiest that he's ever been right now. So,
I would hate for him to go to a bad mental state, man. I love the new Mike.
He's letting us into his world, talking more, being jovial. Thank God for his wife, man. Real talk.
We love you. It's Tyson.
We need to look up her name and give her credit, man.
Give her credit in the comments.
Real talk.
Jay, before you remember the comment I sent you? The comment I sent you, I think it was today. The comment I sent you that Mike made about his
oh yeah, kids.
This is what I'm saying. He might already be slipping, man. And I was not really taking this into account. Talking about, my kids saw that I was fighting, told me to sit my ass there. And I was like, well, y'all don't know nothing. Y'all can't beat me. So I was like, whoa, why'd you even go there? Y'all can't fight. Y'all can't beat me.
No, hold on. That's a very common daddy thing to say. Well, you can't whoop my ass.
I don't know how you attribute, how you can give me an adjective about how good you are, as a fighter, when one of your points is you cannot whoop me. You're just proving a negative. Like, you can't whoop me, dude. People in the hood kill me. I know we get off track, but people in the hood kill me. My dad killed me with that shit too. You can't whoop me. Oh, I'm scared now. Like, I don't understand what type of exchange we just had. I'm ready to do something to you, and you just saying I can't do it. You ain't even said you're gonna do that to me. So I'm confused. So you might win now because I'm confused. I don't even know what I'm about to do. Instead of telling me something aggressive, like you want to do something to me, you say, you can't whoop me. And then you put your hand out. Yeah, I'm confused, dog. So Sorry for the tangent. But go back to the pros and cons. I think you were just on Mike Tyson's mental state.
Yeah, so we did the pros. Now, I would say that is a con, and with that, well, hold up. I think they're only going 4 rounds, right?
It's limited. Yeah, it's real short.
So, all right, conditioning might not be a factor if he don't blow the load early. Okay, so that's the con. That's the con there. And I don't recall him. Ooh, he's gonna have to chase Roy. He's gonna have to chase him. So that's gonna be an issue. Now, Roy's pros and cons. Roy's pros, he's gonna have the speed advantage. He might even have the arm length advantage. I don't know about no, he doesn't have the skill advantage. Tyson is more skilled than him, but Roy is more athletic. Now, at this age though, Tyson's feet look faster. At this age, Tyson's feet look faster.
There you go again.
That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a huge problem.
Ripping a sheet of paper. When he hit him with a body shot. It's not even going to stop. It's going to go straight through him. If he hit him. He might just disintegrate. It's going to be...
So hold on, let's not lose focus because we were talking about peak versions.
Oh no.
Peak versions.
I'm thinking of Rocky 4. Throw in the hands.
Let's go back. Okay, so peak versions.
Okay, I'm trying. Oh. Okay.
So he's gonna have the hand speed advantage. He's probably gonna have the arm length advantage. Initially, he's going to have the movement advantage, but I see that slowing down, and eventually he's gonna want to bang with him to prove something.
For what?
I just see it happening.
What are you talking about?
I just see it happening. I don't know why. I just see it happen.
That's a death kill. That's the double. You can't do that.
Oh, here's another con for Tyson that I forgot. With him being in such a positive place, that might not equal aggression. That might equal compassion. It might equal compassion. So we don't know if he's really gonna go all the way to 10 like we really accustomed to him going. So
I'm still scared
for him. All right. So I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, we've covered the pros and cons on both for the most part.
Just to piggyback off what you were saying about pros and cons, Tyson, pros there. I agree with your pros. Cons, it's like Karate Kid, or it's like it's like those 80s fighting movies, those 80s, 90s fighting movies you love. Bloodsport, Enter the Dragon, 70s, 80s, all those films, the Jackie Chan movies, Karate Kid, and right when you go to the training montage to increase your skill level so you can fight the final guy again after you lost, imagine Tyson going through that montage and halfway through that montage before you learn the death kill, 1-inch punch, the master died, and the scrolls are lost. So he got real close to his potential of that style, but that style is hugely flawed if you do not get to the higher skill levels of that style. He squares up a lot. He used to square up a lot. He never really worked on as great as he was on the inside. He never got really good at exchanging and trading on the inside. He had huge explosive bursts. It would allow bigger guys to drape over him or hold him, and he would not explode. Not that that's going to be a big factor. Roy Jones would not be able to hold this guy at all. But he didn't work on combination, trade, catch. Everything was slip, shoot, slip, dip, punch. And once he got too close, there's no need to do any of that. You just threw punches. When you get in close, he would just sit there and wait. So his inside game never got really developed. So say Khan, he squares up, and inside game was not developed enough. Roy, easy. His whole style was based on athleticism. Here's one about to blow your mind, bro. Pacquiao is a better pound-for-pound fighter than Roy Jones, all time. Period. Point blank.
As far as total career, absolutely.
I'm saying everything. I'm saying how he devastated his weight classes, the disparity in speed and power between him and his opponents.
There were people at those weight classes with clout.
And people at the weight classes that actually could fight him back. And he still ran through him. I mean, I never saw Roy Jones fight somebody the caliber of Cotto that was running through cats, that was skilled, that had defense, that had some savvy, that could punch, that had a good jab, that had a good trainer, and was being built up right, and then and was not lazy like your boy who we were just talking about, James Toney, and just ran through him, took his punches, ran through him. To at this age did what he did to Keith Thurman, to do what he did against Oscar De La Hoya, to do what he did against Ricky Hatton. I mean, to do, and the thing about it, one thing I disagree with Floyd with, and actually I won't even get into that. We're gonna have a video where we talk about the reason that Pacquiao is better than Roy Jones. And people gonna hate it. I'm gonna save that. We gonna get into that. But Roy Jones didn't fight anybody. He didn't develop the skills. People say he was a technical fighter. He was not. He saw the opening because he was way faster than you. And his legs, you pointed out, his legs was his biggest pro. And so when them went, they were gone. But you know what I like? I saw the interview with him, and he finally said it. When we were watching him, and I saw him about to fight, when I was really starting to learn the sport, when I saw he's about to fight the British guy, Joe Galzaghi. And Joe Galzaghi was a bargain brand version of great value brand of Roy Jones. I saw Roy Jones trying to run, and his legs were barely lifting off the ground. I saw him jumping rope, and the rope barely had enough space to get under his feet. Couldn't jump over a hamburger wrapper. You know what I'm saying? If he had a trampoline, the dude's legs were gone. And I'm like, oh, that's what's wrong. What happened to Roy Jones throwing combinations and moving around? His legs were gone. Why did he back up against just about everybody he fought once he moved up to about, actually 175? Because the Montel Griffin fight, he didn't have much lift out of his legs. A lot of those guys, he didn't have a lot of lift. And that's why he started getting caught. He was never technical. If you watch Bernard Hopkins interviews in their second fight that they had, he said it. Roy Jones is one-dimensional. His success was based off of athleticism. Now, he was great. That's what Bernard Hopkins said. He was great, but he's not technical. That's why he got beat by no-namers later in his career.
Also, looking back at some of the footage, one of the things that was the biggest glaring thing to me is there was never any established defense in his game.
No D.
At no point in time.
No D.
I mean, the only time that he would have defense is when he could put his arms up and block your punches. If you threw a straight punch, it was catching.
And if you were fast enough and skilled enough with these guys, we don't know any of these guys. You don't know any of these guys, except Antonio Tarver, Ruiz, as he was a heavyweight, he was garbage. James Toney, Bernard Hopkins. And then Max Kellerman got Max Kellerman keeps saying this because he interviewed Roy Jones as well. He said, you guys like Floyd Mayweather? Well, Floyd Mayweather was fighting while Roy Jones was fighting. And guess what? No one mentioned Floyd Mayweather as a pound-for-pound champion at the time. Everyone's talking about Roy Jones because he was under Bob Arum, he was under Oscar De La Hoya under the same banner, and nobody watched his fights. That's why. Most of these people that saw Money Mayweather never saw Pretty Boy. If you saw Pretty Boy in his prime, or you saw Zab Judah in his prime, You wouldn't care about Lomachenko. You wouldn't care about half these dudes you saw right now. These man, crazy. These dudes were crazy. In divisions where speed was prevalent, they were outspeeding people. When skill was abundant, they were outscaling people. They were dominating top-notch dudes back to back to back, seeing punches you ain't never seen, seeing defensive postures and movement you've never seen. You've never seen. He just didn't get the notoriety. So when somebody that I actually value the opinion of say stuff like that, now I'm questioning everything else you say. So end of the day, we know the pros and cons. In their prime, who would have won? I think this is pretty easy. In the prime, I'm asking you, in their prime, who would have won? Tyson or Roy Jones?
Prime, I'm going with Tyson.
Tyson, knockout. It's over. Because he don't touch him. He don't touch him. He's one of the fastest heavyweights we've seen.
And
now,
at that point, you can't really say that you are more athletic than him.
Right, I'm saying. Now, again, Roy Jones was fast as hell. But he had fought nobody with that caliber of skill other than James Toney. And James Toney was not a pressure fighter. He was a counterpuncher. And that's another reason he didn't look good against Roy Jones, because he was waiting on Roy Jones a lot. You can't wait on somebody that's way faster than you, that's moving in angles and going around you in circles. He's not coming at you in straight lines most of the time. But when you got to run for 12 rounds from somebody that was built like that, nah. Yeah. We're talking about death. Now, who wins?
I got to go with Tyson.
Me, I have no idea. I would say Tyson as well, because we know one thing is gone. Or the last thing that leaves is power. The first thing that leaves is athleticism. Roy Jones lost his athleticism. Tyson probably still has his power. So
and piggyback on that, Tyson was actually a pretty responsible defensive fighter.
Yes, he was.
So you're gonna have to work to hit him, and while you're doing that, you about to get caught.
Tyson had a decent jab.
Yeah,
that jab.
He's not gonna be afraid to move towards you while throwing it, since you're smaller than him.
I don't know why they even said Roy Jones could have did something. Yeah, that might have been good. Nah, he would have killed him. If anybody ever touched him ever in his life, Tyson was going to touch you, and you were going to not be living any longer. This is an exhibition. These guys are way out of their prime. I feel like, as far as calling out our older fighters wanting to smoke and getting back in the limelight, I feel like Shannon Briggs started this, and I feel bad that he's left out. But what do you think about, like, these old guys fighting on TV and getting paid for it? They being pay-per-view, because I think it's pay-per-view as well. Like, what do you think about that? You think it's bad for the sport, or let them eat?
I honestly think that it's kind of good for the sport right now. And you know, if we're gonna let anybody fight, we definitely got to get Shannon Briggs in there. He got the biggest. I wouldn't say he got the biggest following. I think that he has the most updated following. You know what I'm saying? Right. He got kids that know his name. He got everybody in the world talking about "Let's go champ." You know what I mean? Right. So that would be major for him. And I hate that they freezing him out since he's promoting himself. But exhibitions though, I mean, I'm all for them, especially right now. You know, and even if it was, you know, regular cards going on and something, and there was whispers of this, people would still watch it. But right now, it's you know, the grand spectacle, since, you know, this is all new territory. So I mean, I'm happy to see it right now. The appeal would definitely have gone down in regular times, but I'd have still watched it.
I'm with it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Let the real people fight. In the meantime, you know, if we got some legendary names and they could use some money, the least we can do, since they gave us good memories, is give them some more money so they continue taking care of their families and let their, you know, their legends live on. But that's all I have for you, man. I'm
But
Tyson.
it seems like we kind of wrapped that up a bit. But I want to touch on something, as far as current events, especially since we were talking about legendary trainers. So I definitely want to say rest in peace to Brother Nazim Richardson. We lost him earlier this week. To the guy, man, great teacher, very well spoken, super entertaining, and definitely gone too soon, man. So shout out to Brother Nazim and his family, and we keep y'all lifted in prayer and concern. So, but
RP, Brother Nazim.
RP for sure. But it's been another episode, man. Another one in the books. Please like, comment, and subscribe, man, so we can grow. We want to be worldwide with this. You know what I'm saying? So with that, we'll catch you next time on Renaissance.
Renaissance. We out.
Yeah.